All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are actually unrolling the high-tech 3E blueprints of the 2026 financial system. We're going to illuminate the invisible pipes that literally run your money. You know, we usually interact with our finances through polished apps and really clean interfaces, but beneath that surface lies a vast and incredibly complex architecture. So today, we're dissecting the foundational layer of digital value, the execution, verification, and communication protocols that have completely rewritten how global capital moves. Let's dive in.
To really grasp where we are right now, we kind of have to acknowledge what we've left behind. We can officially declare that the chaotic crypto casino era is over. It's done. All that wild meme-driven speculation, it's been entirely replaced by production-grade financial plumbing. Cryptocurrencies aren't just speculative tickers on a screen anymore. They have genuinely matured into the modernized format for the world's financial collateral.
And it is a totally stark contrast. We went from that casino era of, isolated Ponzi yields and speculation straight into the settlement era. We're talking about a deterministic global economy that runs entirely on verifiable data and real institutional collateral. It's an era where massive institutional assets are managed securely and automated finance operates with unprecedented transparency. Basically, the industry has finally grown up.
So here is our master blueprint for today. We're looking at four main parts. First, Ethereum as the settlement standard. Second, Solana's execution engine. Third, Chainlink bridging global finance. And finally, putting it all together into the new settlement era. Starting with part one, Ethereum, the settlement standard, which really is our foundation.
Now, think of Ethereum as the deep bedrock of this whole digital city. It acts as the digital oil of modern finance. And if you want to understand the sheer scale of this foundation, just wrap your head around this number, $11 billion. That represents the massive net inflows into spot Ethereum ETFs by early 2026. Guys, this isn't retail speculation anymore. This is traditional finance treating Ethereum as a legitimate portfolio diversifier and the unquestioned institutional standard. It is the ultra-secure base layer where trillions of dollars can comfortably sit. A perfect case study for this is BlackRock's BUIDL fund. By late 2025, this fund alone crossed $2 billion in assets under management. It literally tokenizes U.S. Treasuries and settles them directly on the Ethereum mainnet. In total, we've seen over $12 billion in real-world assets tokenized here. This proves without a doubt that traditional financial titans aren't just running cute little experiments anymore. They're actively using this foundation to manage billions in real-world value with fully automated workflows.
Okay, moving right along to part two, Solana, the execution engine, or as we like to call it, the high-speed pipes.
So, if Ethereum is our heavy-duty foundation, Solana is the high-octane digital gas powering execution. It's built specifically for speed and low latency. But how do you process global finance at lightning speed without, breaking the entire network? Well, you have to understand its core innovation, proof of history. Think of it like a giant cryptographic clock. In legacy systems, nodes constantly have to talk back and forth to agree on the time an event happened. Proof of history just eliminates those coordination bottlenecks entirely by time-stamping events before consensus even begins, which allows validators to process everything in parallel. It's brilliant.
Which brings us to a really crucial number, 100,000. That is Solana's theoretical peak capacity for transactions per second. To put that crazy number into perspective for you, Visa processes an average of about 1,700 transactions a second, with a peak capacity of roughly 65,000. Solana completely dwarfs legacy payment processors, making it uniquely perfect for high-frequency on-chain activity and heavy institutional payment networks. And let's talk about what that actually means for finality. The exact moment a transaction is permanently settled and done. Ethereum produces blocks in about 12 seconds. Solana, right now, confirms transactions in about 400 milliseconds. But take a look at the upcoming Alpenglow upgrade. It radically compresses that timeline down to true finality in a mere 150 milliseconds. That is literally the blink of an eye. It's processing transactions at the absolute physical limits of the network, rapidly accelerating global liquidity. Of course, speed means absolutely nothing without reliability, right? Enter FireDancer. This is an independent validator client that completely hardens the network's resilience, giving institutions that 100% uptime they absolutely demand. Because of this super high-velocity, rock-solid environment, stablecoins actually circulate 5 times faster on Solana than they do on Ethereum. It has genuinely evolved into a production-grade settlement system. All right, part 3, Chainlink, bridging global finance. This is our universal grid. Because look, a megacity is completely useless if it's totally isolated from the outside world. And an isolated blockchain is technically blind to real-world events. That's where Chainlink steps in as the digital court connecting these networks to external data and legacy banking systems. At the very heart of this is CCIP, the Cross-Chain Interoperability Protocol. It acts as the secure middleware, letting everything safely communicate. And what makes it a real game changer is its independent risk management network, a totally separate set of nodes that double-checks every single cross-chain transfer for anomalies. And why does this interoperability actually matter? Take a second to appreciate this massive number. $150 trillion. That is the annual settlement volume processed by SWIFT, the absolute backbone of global banking, connecting over 11,500 banks. Chainlink has been systematically integrating with SWIFT, meaning they are bringing this unimaginable volume of traditional finance directly onto blockchain rails. In practice, it's a completely frictionless bridge. Traditional banks don't even have to rewrite their legacy backend code to participate in the settlement era, which is huge. A bank simply sends a standard ISO 2022 message right through their existing SWIFT terminal. Chainlink's CCIP grabs that message, translates and verifies the data across chains, and triggers a smart contract that instantly settles the tokenized assets. It connects the old world and the new without skipping a single beat. On top of that, Chainlink provides something called proof of reserve. Think of this as an automated on-chain circuit breaker. It continuously verifies that tokenized assets sitting on a blockchain, like a stablecoin, are actually backed one-to-one by real collateral sitting in a bank vault. This definitively prevents those fractional reserve disasters of the past. It literally transforms the old internet mantra of "don't be evil" into an automated mathematical guarantee of "can't be evil." Which brings us to our final section, Part 4. The new settlement era and the complete blueprint. Let's zoom out and put all these puzzle pieces together. This maps out the completed architecture of digital finance. You've got Ethereum acting as the digital foundation, Solana serving as the high-speed transit pipes, Chainlink is the universal grid verifying truth, and alongside them, networks like Cosmos and XRP step in for sovereign communication and cross-border liquidity. Every single piece has found its specialized institutional role. We've officially moved from theoretical tech experiments to a fully functional, globally integrated capital market. So the global financial system has quietly but incredibly rapidly upgraded its pipes. We've moved from manual, error-prone ledgers to instant verifiable code. And it leaves us with one really profound question to think about. If the very foundation of world capital has been completely rebuilt right under our feet to be entirely deterministic, what legacy system in your daily life is next? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope you found it as fascinating as I did.